Fender has released a new line of electric guitars called the Player Plus series. But the question is it worth it? To determine that, today we're going to compare a Player Plus Stratocaster with a Player Series Stratocaster so that you can find out. Let's talk about it. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name's Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for our custom designed t-shirts like Cooper's wearing. I gotta hit it like you, Greenberg.
Greenberg. Switch up the emphasis on them.
So today we are comparing Fender Stratocasters, the Player Series, and the new just released Player Plus series. If you haven't seen our overview of this series, make sure that you click the link above our heads and check out that video and then come back for this comparison. So we've already shot a video on this about Telecaster, so make sure that you check that out on our page as well. And it's either already published or will be soon. And so if it's not, that's why you should subscribe.
Yep.
And if the Tele one already published and this one hasn't, you should subscribe on that one. But I didn't tell you on that one. So anyway, so we've got Stratocasters. And, you know, the Player Series I think is a good value. Mm-hmm. One of the questions when these launch out of the gate is, are they a good value? And I think that question is a fair one because let's talk about the pricing. Let's talk about yours first.
I got the Player Strat, and I'm already noticing an interesting difference between the Player Tele and the Player Strat.
Okay.
So in that video, we compared hardware, pickups, necks, tuners, all this kind of stuff. On the Player Series Telecaster that I had, it did not have bent saddles.
That's right, it did not.
So, also flashback to another video that I did. I do read all the comments. I had a Mexican Standard in my hands. I did not have a player, and I was too dumb to notice that. You can tell it's the player by the 2-point trem.
Yeah.
I had a 6-point trem. I'm a moron sometimes. It's all good. This is decidedly a player as denoted by that sticker right there.
Le Hooser.
And the 2-point trem. So, bent saddles, why?
I don't know. You know, I think it's more traditional on the Strat. Typically, you know, the traditional version of that on the Tele are the brass barrel saddles. And there's a lot of people that just prefer the sound of the bent stainless steel saddle on a Stratocaster.
You know what I don't prefer is my hand getting all torn up when I'm trying to palm mute. So I think that is an upgrade.
The block saddles?
Already. Yeah.
And this is something that in the past was, I think, initially on deluxe guitars and then carried through to Elite and now Ultra.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of debate out there, but you know, of whether or not these sound better or those sound better. Those are definitely more traditional. I have typically personally found that there's more difference from the pickups or the nut material or even the setup on the guitar than what happens with the saddles. I have noticed an intonation difference because those tend to wear faster than these do. So I actually, my guitar, Fender Select Stratocaster that I typically play, has bent stainless steel saddles. So I get my Dremel tool out every once in a while and polish those suckers up.
Nice.
So just a little top tip for you.
That's a good call. Moving to the side, on the Player Plus, you do have a push-pull on the tone knob. If you can grab it, yep. If you can grab it. Get your nail under there. You know, if you're practicing your classical, be careful. You don't break it inside
different
that
colored
pot.
Hardware here, or the plastics
plastic
anyway.
Parts. It looks nice.
I prefer the mint green and off-white stuff, personally.
I do too. And so that push-pull on there adds your neck pickup in positions 1 and 2, so you can potentially have all 3 pickups on.
You can get that Tele sound, sort of, with these 2 in parallel, or you get all 3 on, and it's a really cool tone. Yeah.
And said Tele sound or any combination that you can get off of this one will be created by noiseless pickups.
Yep.
Not the Player Series Alnico 5 pickups.
Right.
You got noiseless over there. Nice upgrade. Moving on up, both of these, you know, luckily we're clairvoyant with the comments, so we chose 2 with the same fretboard material.
Pal Faro which is actually also used on this SRV, the Stevie Ray Vaughan signature model, built in the U.S.
Yeah.
It is, I believe, a wood that's indigenous to Mexico, I think. So that's why they selected these. Used to be rosewood.
Yeah.
But it's not anymore because of CITES, which went away, but it's still Pau Ferro. So there you go.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Pau Ferro did play on the Spurs for a little bit.
Part of that championship run,
yeah,
buddy.
Something like that. On your neck, different profiles, correct?
Different profiles, yeah.
Different profiles, different fingerboard edge or fret edge rolling, which is non-existent on this one. And
it's definitely, yeah, it's rolled here, and it's done, I'm pretty sure, by hand, because you can see a little bit of tool mark there. But very, very comfortable. Both medium jumbo frets. This has a wider nut, a flatter radius. And they are, I think, both C-shaped necks, right?
Modern C?
Modern C.
Okay.
But the neck feels a little different, probably mostly because of the variations of things. So the neck is wider, the fretboard is flatter on this guitar. So it's basically just a more modern setup. Yeah. And we talked about that in our Tele video, that there are players who are going to be more comfortable with a 9.5, which is what you have typically played on, or even like the more vintage 7 1/4. It's a rounder radius. When you're playing chords up the neck, you're playing the kind of Hendrix style or Frusciante style or whatever it is. Then you might be more comfortable with that. But that's player specific. I pointed out in our last one, Eric Johnson has a 12-inch radius on his Strat. And you know why I think that is? Because he can hear the difference, like his batteries. No, I think it's because of his other guitars he's played. Like, he's known, I think he loves like ES335s. That's why he did a semi-hollow Strat.
Yeah, that's cool.
And Gibsons have a flatter radius. And so I think that's why he went with kind of a 12. But it's just speculation on my part. But it's interesting because usually the debate is, if you're kind of a thumb over the top, chording all over the neck, Hendrix-style guy, like Mayer is, you prefer the rounder radius. And then here's, Eric Johnson going the other way. So,
yeah. Just a side note that I'd love to see, because I understand the math behind it and I just can't visualize it, that I would love to see a full circle of fret wire.
Yeah.
And be able to see a cutout in different sizes of the circle for different guitars. Because no matter what, if I'm looking down at it, it looks so relatively flat that I cannot imagine, a 24-inch diameter circle. It's hard to visualize. I get the math behind it, and I feel the difference.
Particularly if you go to classical where it's flat.
Yeah.
It's where it's I think with a lot of things, right, you have to have like extreme examples to really understand.
Yeah.
Now, on our website, we have, if you sign up for our newsletter, a guitar buyer's guide. And one of the things that I talk about when I wrote that paper is radius. And I actually have some pictures in there showing
that's cool.
the differences in the radii of a circle. And they're just cutting that off, and then that's your fret wire. So.
It's just math, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just cool. And then jumping up to the headstock, a big difference here is locking versus non-locking tuners.
I love locking tuners.
It's just, once you have them and you do your first string change with them, it's like you don't want to go back.
On a Fender guitar, well, really any guitar, but on a Fender guitar, this is very appropriate. I would either have locking tuners or vintage style tuners, where the string goes down in the post.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean.
Yeah, those are awesome.
That's what it's one or the other, because it's locked in, it's out of the way. That's what I really prefer it. And these are short posts too, which increases the angle of the string over the nut so that the G string doesn't pop out of the nut. Don't say it. So also different logos. You pointed that out in our other video.
Yeah.
So this is more of like the Ultra style, and that follows to our point. This is to the Player series.
Yeah.
What the Ultra is to the American Pro 2 series. So.
And the cool part about that is Player, Player Plus, Pro 2, and Ultra, all great guitars.
I just realized something.
What you got?
Well, they went Pro 2. Do you think they'll do Player 2? And there'll be Player Plus 2? Because that would get confusing. Plus 2 of what?
I mean, who's to say?
Just.
I mean, it's like
talk about math.
Get with it, get with some consistency in the naming.
We talked about in our last video that there exists in Fender's lineup right now a Fender Player Plus top. So I really want them to introduce those flame maple tops for these, because then it would be the Fender Player Plus top.
That would be tight.
That would be great.
That sounds like a great guitar.
It's got to come.
I mean, it's really cool. I think that, we talked about in the tele video, if you were to price out the upgrades on the pluses versus the regular player series, that price difference would be exceeded,
Just one of the upgrades. If you just changed out the pickups, it'd probably be $200 or more, really. If you just took and took it to a shop or did it yourself, if you know how to solder, and wired in a push-pull with the new circuitry, it would probably be $200. If you just replaced the tuners, it would be $200. If you took it in to have like a whole new radius and like fret dressing and stuff, it'd be more than $200.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, I think it's a good value. You get a gig bag with it too, which is usually $50 on its own.
We did not mention that in the tele one, but player series unfortunately do not come with a gig bag. Player
Plus, I think every guitar should come with a gig bag.
Yeah.
Or case, but it's my soapbox.
I mean, typically, I'm not going to make any promises here, but we got some. We can hook you up if you're looking for one. If you walk out of the store without a gig bag, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And you're doing something wrong. But have something to transport it. Don't put a player series guitar in your front seat with a seatbelt on it or something.
So one thing we haven't talked about yet is your guitar is black, and mine is Opal Spark.
Yeah.
So new colors.
Yeah. So when you think about opal, what's the shade that comes to mind?
White, actually.
I think so. There's also, isn't there an Olympic pearl?
There is.
Which is
so
kind of
they couldn't call that opal.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a bluish white.
They couldn't call this flake placid blue.
Oh, that's great.
It's a nice color. It looks good with the hardware. I mean, the plastic part matching.
You know what I want to do now? I want to make a Frankenstrat. That's not Fender. I'm just going to build it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to paint it fake placid blue.
Fake placid blue. And then you'll cover Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead.
There you go.
Exactly.
So both are really cool guitars. They do sound different with the pickups, and the feel is decidedly different. And you haven't made a choice of which you prefer. They're whatever, right?
Yeah.
They both feel good. So Cooper's going to put them through their paces so you can hear the difference for yourself. So make sure you put on your headphones or pay very close attention, perk up those ears so you can hear the difference. Check it out. So there you have it, the Player Plus versus the Player Minus, which is what happens if you take the plus and you subtract. I don't know.
Who's to say?
I love the new naming convention.
Yeah.
I really do. So great guitars. And I said this in our tele video, and what occurred to me with this line is, I think that these are compelling enough that there are probably guitar players who see these that question, should I even get like an American Pro 2 with some of the features that are available on this for, the $1,000 mark? $999, $999, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, Pro 2, great pickups, the V-Mod 2, and great feeling necks. They're awesome guitars, and they're made in the United States. They don't have noiseless pickups. They don't have locking tuners. They do have the switching options, which are going to be the same. I'm trying to pull this tone knob out. This does not have a push
No, this
pull.
one does. See that? I did it.
I think that's pretty good. I guess it probably gets easier,
It's easier on the telly. The Neural makes it easier.
But, you think about certain things, maybe for the needs of the professional musician, the American Pro, if you will. Probably be nice to have some noiseless, nice to have locking tuners.
Well, that's why they have both the Pro 2s and the Ultras. The Pro 2s are getting more modern too, with like the neck joint, like the bevel on the back and stuff. But they are still more traditionally minded, and the pickups are in that vein.
Yeah.
If because some people hate noiseless pickups, they just do. I think they're necessary at times. But I get where people come from. I have 3 Strats that don't have noiseless pickups, right?
Yeah.
But I have one that does, just in case.
Yeah.
So I get it. And so for those people that just hate noiseless pickups, there's always those other options.
Yep.
But I think more modern players tend to prefer a lot of the features that we're seeing here.
For sure. And if you're looking for a great Stratocaster that doesn't have the noiseless pickups within the same price range, Vintera, and they do have a Lake Placid Blue Vintera 50 Strat, looks pretty similar, and it's also very cool.
You can even get versions that Fender beat up for you.
Yeah, that you can just throw them on the ground at the factory. But yeah, I think the Player Plus is definitely a success in my eyes. I think they just feel great. They sound great.
And particularly when we said this in the last video, when you can buy a guitar right now that's an Asian import guitar, which has typically been considered value guitar, a less expensive guitar. Some of those guitars are coming in at $1,000 or more. Then this, built in North America in Sonata, is a good value at $1,000.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. But let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are. If you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you're interested in either of these guitars, make sure you visit our website, alabamusic.com, and you can chat with maybe Cooper, maybe not Cooper, but you can chat with someone to help you kind of sort through there and find the right color, specs, everything to meet your needs, because at the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is the one that you are
playing.
Plus. So.
Oh, man.
So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.